Ramble.
Thanks to Hydrant and DoorDash for sponsoring today's episode.
Hey, it's Ned.
And Ariel.
And before we get into today's episode of the TryPod, we have a very exciting announcement. We have a new podcast!
Woo! It's called Baby Steps.
It's a not-so-perfect parenting podcast because, we make it look easy on Instagram. We make it look cute on the social media. But this is a podcast where we dive into, the real of parenting. What's behind the curtain?
The dirty, the ugly, the nitty-gritty of parenting with a toddler and soon to be a newborn.
So enjoy the TryPod, and at the very end, stay tuned for an exclusive clip of our new podcast, Baby Steps. It premieres September 6th, and you can subscribe right now. Go search for Baby Steps anywhere you find podcasts. Now on to the TryPod.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another thrilling episode of the TryPod. It's a crazy week. It is September. We made it. And while everybody's pretty excited about the normal activity and news of September, we've got special news this September, all about our boy Zachy. And no, it's not about tea, but he's gonna give you the tea. Down on one knee, Zachy K, take it away.
A very exciting episode, guys. I'm gonna finally reveal my true BTS bias, or no, not that.
No. The other one, the other important thing.
Don't do bits. We're here for the tea.
Oh, you want to hear about my tea?
No,
yeah, guys, I got Zydeco, Tico.
No.
Very exciting. I am engaged officially.
That has a nice ring to it.
It is weird to now, Maggie and I look at each other and we go, fiance? Fiance? And that is exclusively how we refer to each other now.
There's a few times in your relationship where you get to speak another language to refer to one another. And this is time.
What are the other ones?
Well, that's it, I guess. Maybe muerte when you're dead. That's not really a good part of the relationship.
Well, I'm very excited, guys. I got engaged. I want to tell you the story of how it happened. Maggie over on You Can Sit With Us has the very cute telling. And look, it was a very romantic time, a very lovely moment.
The photos are gorgeous.
The photos are
Pretty
cute.
colors.
Thank you. I looked at what she was wearing and I coordinated. But I would say my end of the story, a little bit more stress and anxiety and months of planning, and man, oh man.
Months of planning. Whoa.
Before I dive into it, how are you guys feeling today? Eugene, you've got a nice robe rocking look. No, nice robe look you're rocking. Whew.
Yeah, this is one of my stepdads he got in Japan. So, it's always nice to lounge in a robe. If you've never tried it, get a robe. That's my advice that'll go for miles.
So early.
Up top. Yeah, so early. And thanks for listening to the TryPod. No, but I feel good. I'm really curious and excited to hear more about the engagement. Zach, this is the time we want to hear you just take over and let us know what went down.
This is the one time where you're allowed to talk a lot.
This is the one time where I'm like, you guys want to talk? And you're like, no, shut the fuck up. You talk. Go.
Nothing happens
Nothing
anymore.
else.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, I am engaged. You may have seen the photos. Now, when I say months, I mean literally months, nearly a year. I actually, I've been dating Maggie a long time. I've loved her for a very long time. I have been thinking about this. We had been talking about it. I thought about proposing last September, basically right when we got back from tour. And I was like, yeah, I want to spend the rest of my life with this incredible person. But we were coming off of tour. We were about to go to Australia and New Zealand. I knew that would be a great place to do it, but I just couldn't get my shit together in time.
Or you were going to do it in New Zealand, with a kangaroo just looking at you.
On a mountaintop.
Wow.
I certainly thought about it.
In an infinity pool.
with Eugene and Matt right there with us.
Yeah.
She would have loved that. Genuinely,
Actually,
she would have loved that.
She would have.
It sounded facetious. It was not facetious. That would have been better. But we had in Australia, we were in the Blue Mountains. We went on this incredible hike to a glowworm cave where we were overlooking the wild expanse of the Australian wilderness. And I'm like, yeah, I fucked up. This is the most incredible romantic moment. Nothing will ever beat this. Like, we both like teared up. It was so beautiful and it was so clear. Like, the tension in the air was like, she knew that I didn't have a ring and I knew that I didn't have a ring, but we both knew like, oh, Zach, this was the moment. This was it. So then, okay, so I didn't do it then. She requested, she didn't want me to do it over the holidays. She like, as a joke one time, she's like, don't do it over Christmas. And I was like, okay, fine. I'm not going to do it over Christmas. So
people do
go.
that. Didn't you do that, Keith? It was like a present that you opened?
No, mine was Easter. But I went through a similar, I wanted to do it at this time, and then it was not the right time, and then I was doing it this time, and then it was not the right time, and then I was like, well, maybe Valentine's Day. I'm like, no, fuck that. And
that was my thought. I'm like, I can't do it Valentine's Day.
And then I thought, Easter. You know what holiday is kind of already crazy and weird? Easter. Let's just change the meaning of Easter to us because we don't really celebrate it anyhow.
That's nice. What was Zach? Was there a moment where you knew, that you wanted to marry her, like over tour, or did it just kind of like evolve? I
kind of always knew, but I didn't want to rush it. I'm a big believer of life stages, and I don't want, I want to enjoy each moment that I'm in while I'm in it. I don't want to, be boyfriend and girlfriend and then just rush to marriage, or even like now that we're engaged, I want to enjoy this moment because we only get to do it once. Moving in together was the same thing.
That's the only time you get to say
fiance. We almost moved in together way earlier in our relationship, but we said no, each stage should be its own special thing. But yeah, I remember being at a music festival with Keith and Becky as well, right after tour, and I just was like, wow, she's great. She's mine. That's the only person I ever want.
I think you even told me that. I was like, yeah, duh. Like, what? There's nothing better coming, Zach. There's nothing better on its way. This is like a pretty amazing opportunity. You need to snag this. Don't let it get away. There's nothing down the road. That's it.
Look in the mirror and know that you're clearly batting above your weight, okay?
This is the good stuff.
So then because that moment in Australia was so unbelievably romantic, I knew a couple things. I wanted it to be special. I wanted it to just even attempt to rival that moment. And I think that also comes from watching rom-coms growing up. I'm like, an engagement has to be remarkable. But then I also wanted to surprise her. And I didn't want her to see it coming. So Christmas, too obvious. Valentine's Day, too obvious. We were all supposed to be in Hawaii together in March. And so I was like, perfect. It's a work trip. I will extend the trip because we've never been to Hawaii. Boom, propose, incredible. Then the pandemic. And, call me crazy. It wasn't really a romantic time. I was anxious every day. She caught COVID. It was just too much. And I didn't want to, we couldn't leave the apartment. So I'm like, I'm not going to. Oh, by the way, I should say this. I've had the ring since February.
Oh, wow. So really, the pandemic coming in March was a big twist in your plans.
Yeah, it really fucked me.
Well, you said you did want a surprise.
Surprise.
Yeah, so different.
Yeah. So then, okay, things started to normalize, and then the Black Lives Matter movement really erupted. And once again, it just didn't feel romantic. Didn't really feel like that's where our minds were at the moment.
How did you pick out the ring? Did she kind of leave browser tabs open to hint you towards a particular style?
No, so we actually, we talked about the ring. I just point blank was like, hey, I want to go look at rings together. We looked at different types, and I got to know. I mean, I didn't hide that. We were open. She knew it was coming. I just didn't want to let her know when. Kind of to throw her off my scent, I also would kind of be a dick sometimes. She would ask me.
In general, or?
Well, if she, Anytime she would ask me a question about, like, if we were married, I'd be like, yeah, I mean, it's really hard in this economy. Who knows when it's going to happen? I would just try and make it seem like it wasn't even on my mind.
Yeah.
Well, I relate with that because, like, when you're planning on doing it and you're trying to find a perfect time, when your significant other sort of drops, like, angry hints that you should have done it already, you're kind of like, well... Ooh, if only you knew. If only you knew.
I'm working on it.
Work you're
time
doing
for
behind the
6
scenes.
months.
Yeah.
And it's like she's like she hates surprises. Like, even on the holidays, like, she would go when she was a kid into her parents' room and, like, find the presents the weeks leading up to Christmas. She one time admitted, she's like, I didn't mean to, but I was looking at the Amazon purchase history, and then like stuff like that. So I'm like, I need to blindside this motherfucker with my love. So the day of our engagement, I should give you the romantic version. We went down to we went away for my birthday. This happened 5 weeks ago. I've kept it a secret, not from my friends, but from the world. I wanted to have a chance to tell everyone in my life, my family, my friends, my loved ones. I wanted to give us a moment to celebrate it and enjoy it. And actually announcing it again this week allowed us to feel the excitement all over again. So thank you, everyone, for your excitement for me.
I'm
It's been
excited
really
for you to
cool.
announce it again next month. This is just
I'll just
great.
keep going.
Way to
Rolling.
keep the happiness going.
I mean, not everyone logged on to Instagram that day.
Some people did find out from the podcast. Yeah, so surprise. So that day we went away for my birthday just up in Topanga Canyon at this really cute Airstream. We went down to the beach to Paradise Cove in Malibu. I told her we were going to get dinner, but when we got down to the beach, there was a picnic, a company that sets up these beautiful picnics. There was a tent and tons of flowers and a sushi spread and macarons. And it was very, we watched the sunset. I played some music. I got down on one knee. I had a speech prepared, and I said, Maggie, will you marry me?
Wow. Now, a couple episodes ago, you said that steamed rice with fish was definitely hot. And that just goes to show when you had
Oh, there it is. There it is.
I believe that I said that white fish, not sexy, and there was no white fish.
There's no yellowtail. There's no
Raw fish,
Yeah.
very sexy.
Yeah. No gefilte fish on like a
Gefilte?
everything bagel.
But then the actual day for me was just the most totally stressful day of my life.
my
Because
gosh.
I was trying to surprise her, right? I didn't want her to know, so I had to get her down to this beach without her thinking that something was up. So I made up that we were going to a restaurant. I told her that, like, look nice. Oh, but you don't have to be too nice. I didn't want to, like, make her suspicious. I was like, hey, maybe you should do your hair without being rude. She did not
so
do her
ugly
nails.
right now, by the way. Maybe you should look a little hotter,
Do
babe.
your hair. Oh my god.
Well, because, like, otherwise, like, if we're just going down to, like, grab a bite to eat, we get takeout, like, we could be in pajamas. I don't know. And then she would be like, why didn't you tell me to get dressed up for these photos? So I'm like, okay, how do I tell her to look cute, but, like, don't tell her so much? And then the ring, is this fucking box. And the box doesn't fit in my pocket. It's this big, giant, lumpy thing. So, anyway, we get down to the beach. And I'm looking for our picnic, and we end up having to walk through a parking lot, and it's like a really long parking lot. And the beach there's another beach closer. Maggie's like, why aren't we going there? The sand's right there. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure we want to go to this side of the beach. Much prettier. She's like, have you been here? I'm like, and as we're walking through the parking lot, there's a car with teenagers doing whippets, blasting EDM.
Oh my god.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And
That's
I am
my
like,
favorite part of the story.
just like unabashedly just going ham on whippets. And Maggie's like, okay, if you want to keep going this way. I spot the tent. And there's a family sitting right next to the tent. drinking beer as their son is dressed up like Spider-Man, just running around going pew, 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 shooting imaginary webs. And I'm like, yo, kid, if you don't get away from my tent, I will drop kick you right now.
Yeah. Yeah, you have plenty of years for a little kid to disrupt your romantic plans.
She walked right by the picnic. She in no way was like, this is for me. And I'm like, oh, I guess in my mind, as soon as she saw it, she would know. She would break down crying, and I would just get down on one knee. But she saw it and was walked through it. I'm like, no, Maggie, this is for us. And she's like, what? And she didn't get it. And so I'm like, do we just start eating? Do I do it now? I see my friend Mandy, who's there, is a photographer. She's ready. I'm like, I guess I do it now. So I don't know about you guys, but I had this whole beautiful speech written. You know, I really wanted it to be a moment where I could communicate my love. And I forgot every single word immediately. I had thought about getting a videographer just to have, that. And I'm so glad that I did not, because it is just me going like, you pretty, I love Mary.
Mean so much to me. I mean, that's so surprising to me, Zach, because anytime we've ever done anything scripted, you're so good at remembering lines.
Yeah. Who saw that one coming?
Who doesn't love sitting on their butt and getting things delivered straight to you? You can give yourself one less thing to worry about and let DoorDash take care of your next meal.
We've all been in that never-ending argument with our significant others. You want Chinese food. They want pizza. Somebody else in your house wants froyo. Who are they? There's something for everyone on DoorDash, even the strangers lingering around.
And you can continue supporting restaurants in your community safely. DoorDash is the app that brings you food that you're craving right now, right to your door.
Ordering is easy. You just open up that DoorDash app, you choose what you want to get, and then your food is going to be left safely outside your door using the new contactless delivery drop-off setting.
With over 300,000 partners in the US, Puerto Rico, Canada, and Australia, you can support your local go-tos or choose your favorite national restaurants like Chipotle, Wendy's,
Ooh, girl,
and the Cheesecake Factory.
And many of your favorite local restaurants are still open for delivery. Just open the DoorDash app, select your favorite local choice, and your food will be left at your door. And right now, our listeners can get $5 off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter code TRYGUYS. That is $5 off and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code TRYGUYS. Don't forget. I know you're already forgetting. You're trying to forget on me.
I forgot, Keith.
Don't
what
forget. It's code TRYGUYS for $5 off your first order with DoorDash.
But her reaction, all she said was, no, you're not. No. And then she started crying.
The first thing she said is no.
Yeah, first thing she said was no. But it was like a cute no, so I knew.
Yeah.
She she doesn't remember me getting down on one knee. I have the photo to prove it. But then so I had my friend Mandy there to take photos. It just felt like, I guess that's what you do, right? I didn't know if we needed someone there or not, but since we were in public, I'm like, yeah, we'll want these.
Super nice to have. But did she camouflage? Did Maggie see oh, there's a photographer here, what's about to happen? Or does Mandy is pretending like she's taking pictures of a little spider kid and then just whips around, surprise.
She was good. So I spotted her and she's standing with a jacket over her camera.
Ooh, wow.
And yeah, Maggie just never saw her, but I was aware of her.
Yeah,
and
so
I
you
will
find
say,
your light,
so
you find your angles.
You do the thing. And I actually was trying to motion. I'm like, is Spider-Man in the photo? And she's like, no. I'm like, oh no, I want him in the photo. You guys didn't have, obviously, Keith, you did it at home. Ned, yours was more spontaneous. There's something weird about, so we had the photographer there, and then afterwards she came up to us and took photos of us together, and then we went on a walk, and Mandy was like, I'm gonna get in and out, we're gonna do this for 10 minutes and then let you guys enjoy it. But as a result, the first 10 minutes of our engagement, maybe 15, it felt very surreal and bizarre and kind of performative, because it didn't feel real, first of all. All of a sudden we are engaged, but then immediately someone is there to do a photo shoot with us being in love, and there's people, or it just
everything that's like somewhat traditional or ceremonial, when you're actually in the moment, it feels completely like an out-of-body experience. Like whether it's like you felt it in the engagement and you're going to feel it again when the wedding does happen and you're actually standing up there and Maggie's walking down the aisle. It is the most bizarre out-of-body experience because you've seen it in pop culture and read about it and heard about it and thought about it or seen other people do it. And now you're doing it and you've never seen it from that perspective. You only see it from the other perspective. So for the first time, you're like, fuck, I'm inside a video game. And like, because everything just seems so, I don't know, it's following a script that you know. Like, you know this script.
And sometimes literally it's following a script that you have like worked to like write with, you know, maybe you're writing your vows, maybe you're kind of planning out the ceremony with your officiant. You've planned and imagined so many aspects of that day leading up to it that when it happens, it's all very, very surreal.
It was. I mean, I would say that it took us 20 minutes and then she left and we were just together. And then there was this moment of silence. And then we looked at each other and went, and got so excited. And then it was so cute. We got to FaceTime her family and my family. I would say we were on the phone with her mom for all of 45 seconds before she asked, so when's the wedding? And I said, Magali, this just happened. I don't know. But everyone was so excited. It was very cute. And now, like, we just have had these mini eruptions of excitement. You know, like, you'll be washing the dishes and you'll hear from across the house just like, fiance! So it's very cute. We're getting to live in this fun little honeymoon phase. And it's very exciting to be able to share it with everyone, share it with my friends. I mean, you guys, I got to tell all individually and your excitement was so cool. I don't know. It's just, I feel all grown up.
Is that because the whole world's closed, you don't get to go everywhere and say we just got engaged and just get free desserts, free wine, free upgrades in hotels. It's like everyone treats you so different.
Just anytime you go on a trip, put it in the comments to say like, we just got engaged. And everyone's like,
nice.
Oh my God. And because of your special engagement, we've decided to give you free complimentary passes to the spa.
I write it in my Postmates notes and the guy just goes, all right.
You'd be surprised. Nice. People get pretty hyped.
Now, Eugene is sort of like the, I would say, romance expert. How do you think Zach did in his proposal? Do you think it was up to par? Do you think it was up to snuff?
You know, I have a pretty non-heteronormative view of marriage proceedings. You know, I'm always very close to them and I respect them because it's very hard to, I think, even be an alternative type and then do wedding stuff and not fall into the trappings of, oh, yeah, I'm used to seeing, you know, a young lady in white. Like that's so, it pulls at your heartstrings because that's what we're conditioned to believe that, right?
Yeah.
Not to make it like less romantic, but that's what we believe. But when I look at it, I look at just what the pure work that goes into it. And I think for typical grooms, the engagement is the most stressful part while the wedding is more stressful for the bride. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
but the men are like, it's basically a surprise, right? Or prank. Yeah. That's what engagements are.
It's the first surprise party I've ever thrown. Or like a prank.
Yeah. But it also seems like to me, it seems to me that because the result, kind of like everything with straight couples, like a baby, right? Like when you have a baby, the actual process, as we always say, is so physically awful. But then why do you do it? It's because you get the baby, right? So with an engagement, everything that goes up to that point, over half the stories I hear from my friends is the man is so concerned about making it a surprise and also so concerned about not letting his future fiance know it's a surprise that most of them end up being like, the girl's like annoyed half the time, confused. You know, like,
Derek, why the fuck are we going over here?
Yeah, she's like,
it's gonna
I
be
don't
great
know
at
why
prom.
you're
Can we just go home?
I won't name who, but I'm close to someone who got proposed to on the top of a snowing mountain. And he had planned to do it, you know, while they were on a ski trip. And he had a photographer there ready and everything. But they had done a couple slopes before and she sprained her ankle.
Oh, no.
But he was like the pass down right before he was supposed to take her up the ski lift the final time to propose at the top of this beautiful sunset peak. And at that point, he's like, she's crying. She's upset.
Let's do it anyway.
He has to do it. It's all set up.
Anyways.
Yeah, he has to do it. And you know,
sprained ankle gate.
But you know what? It was the surprise that was more important than the actual, I think, mood before the surprise. So it turned out being beautiful, right? Because it's a funny story. But I've never heard of a perfect engagement story because the man is so occupied with this idea of making sure she doesn't know before.
It's like you're planning a whole shoot or something. It's like you're planning a photo shoot with the props and the
secret photo
food.
shoot.
Yeah.
I will share, so having just gone through it, so much of my energy and focus was on the surprise and on making sure that this moment was romantic and perfect and lived up to this Australian dream I had, right? I just was like, this has to be, and it's because she's the most incredible person I've ever met. She deserves a moment that knocks her off her feet, right? But having done it, I will say that the second it started, we could have been anywhere in the world. We could have been in my bathroom. We could have been on the front door of my apartment. Nothing else mattered. And it was a really beautiful moment. But I think that it would have been beautiful whenever, wherever it would have happened. And it's because it's not about everything else. It's not about the pomp and circumstance. It's about two people who have found each other and want to spend the rest of their lives together. So that to me was my ultimate takeaway, is that, while I had fun and all my stress makes for fun, good stories, at the end of the day, all that matters is the connection between the two people. And I'm really happy to have had it.
That's great perspective. Woo!
The word engage outside of the term marriage is very different. Why is it the word engage? Why is that the word? Because you're engaged to be wed. Why is that the word? I'm just now questioning the word itself, because you make your jet engines engaged.
Yeah.
Right?
Very cool.
Right? That's the only other time you use engage is guns engaged. Everything locked in.
You're saying this like it's a bad thing. That sounds dope.
I mean, it sounds dope, but it just it seems like a totally different use of the word to be we're engaged. It's the engines are engaged, and
I think it's more accurate because essentially a lot of marriage is just contract, right? So
yeah, it's true.
It's the most romantic, non-romantic word. Because you used to call them your betrothed, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
we should go with that.
Yeah, we should go with that.
Yeah.
And instead of fiance, I'll call her she's my betrothed.
You're Beethoven.
Betrothed.
Look, okay, I'm gonna be the dumb, gay, single person in the audience, right? So
Sure.
how long typically? Because also, I think a lot of this is. Well, here's the first question. How much of engagements and marriages are dependent on just the couple, and how much is informed by the types of parents they have?
Well, the family. So a marriage is a joining of families, not just a joining of two people. In a way and that's the way that the family always thinks of it. I think the couple is always nah, it's about me and this person, and the family's no. It's about all of us there.
And all of my friends who helped raise you, and you haven't seen them in 20 years, but they knew you when you were in diapers, and you mean a lot to them.
It's
so
true,
you're going to feed
what
them.
Zach said before about the connection that you guys have, that's your marriage, right? But your wedding is a big party where you are celebrating that and, celebrating the union of your two families. And it's sort of symbolic, but it's all of that stuff doesn't really matter in comparison to the connection that you have. So, but it's good to kind of tolerate some of the asks from your family, even if you don't agree with them, because it's that's important too.
Yeah, I think the size of your wedding is always something that's tough to determine. Are you going to have a small wedding, a big wedding? If you do a small wedding, it makes it really tough because you've got to start saying no to a large amount of people. If you do a large wedding, you're going to have to say yes to almost everybody. And then it's also going to be like too much work. It's going to cost a ton. You got to feed every person. You got to think of every...
Want to know the cheat code?
Yeah, what's your cheat code?
Pandemic.
That's true. That does help a lot.
I don't know what we're doing yet. I don't know what we're planning, but it definitely has occurred to me. I'm like, well, if I were the kind of person who was like, I just want 20 of my closest friends and my immediate family there, you can't pull that off without pissing off your third cousin. But if you go, we're trying to be safe because of this and that,
Right.
now all of a sudden I can have us, if you out there want that, I think you can justify it now in a way you couldn't. I'm trying to find a silver lining here. I mean, even for us, it's like, okay, well, everyone's wedding this year got pushed to next year, and then everyone who was aiming for next year is already eyeing 2022, so we are in a competitive market.
Yeah.
You guys doing anything on a Tuesday? Maybe a nice Tuesday wedding?
Dude, fucking, we'll take the whole week off for your wedding, right? Like,
All right.
Well, yeah, let's go for it. Who cares?
Yeah. We'll report the podcast live.
Oh, yeah. It'll just be the three of us in the audience of your ceremony, just sort of roasting it lightly. Because
Question number 2. Do you have to take engagement photos?
No.
Did y'all take engagement photos?
if you're from the South, yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with yes for that. I didn't hire a photographer to shoot the moment, and that's really cool that you did. I kind of wish that I had that, of course, but yeah, a couple weeks after we got engaged, we got all dressed up, and we did a nice romantic photo shoot, like on the beach and the city, and it's like those photos we use to announce the engagement. Then we also use some of them in our like wedding invitation and your wedding like website. I think it's pretty common to do an engagement photo shoot.
It is summer, but by the time you feel thirsty, it's too late. You should have had water in the past, and you can't time travel, so we got a solution that's more realistic. I'm talking about this product better than time travel. It's called Hydrant.
Hydrant has created a refreshing electrolyte powder that you mix directly into water to more efficiently and effectively hydrate your body. Each rapid hydration mix has the 4 essential electrolytes your body needs: sodium, potassium, magnesium, and what, Keith?
Zinc, baby. It's made with real fruit juice powder. It's delicious and refreshing, comes in a variety of flavors, and I'm also about to introduce the new summer-friendly iced tea, lemonade, and fruit punch flavors, y'all. If you're looking for that extra boost of energy, there's also Hydrant Plus Caffeine, which contains 100 milligrams of caffeine from green tea. So it's good caffeine, baby. Look, I just didn't eat the menu yesterday. We had some of this Hydrant laying around. You know how I'm always dying at the end of the menu, and I felt really bad this time. But actually, having one of these, mixing these powders up with a bottle of water, I actually did feel a lot better. I chose the caffeine variety. It woke me up. It really works. It's awesome.
We've got a special deal for you to save 25% off your first order. Go to drinkhydrant.com/TryGuys or enter our promo code TRYGUYS at checkout.
That's drinkhydrant.com, drinkhydrant.com/TryGuys, and enter promo code TRYGUYS for 25% off your first order, girl. I find that all of those life milestone photo shoots are more common in rural areas than in city areas, just generally. Like the amount of go to a photo studio with your naked infant type of photos that come out of the South, where they've folded a sleeping child who was born 4 days ago. Tops. such a teensy thing, and they've just folded sleeping body into a little croissant.
Yeah. Question 3.
Yeah, question 3.
Did you ask your future wife's parents before you asked her for her hand in marriage?
I did not. I thought a lot about this. I mean, look, she's first generation Peruvian. I feel like tradition, I don't know what their tradition is, but I feel like maybe I should have. But in my view, I took a very modern feminist approach. Maggie is her own person. I think that asking for permission is a holdover from the property times. It's like, I would like your daughter. Like, I don't know. It felt kind of icky to me, even though I understand there's something respectful about it. But I know her parents very well. We're very close. We text sometimes. To me, it was like, I know what's in their heart. I know that they like me. So no, I'm not going to ask for permission.
But are you accepting her dowry?
Yes, of course.
Of course.
What sort of dowry are we talking here?
How many sheep?
Like,
How many ships do they
parcels
have?
of land?
Oxen, forestry with
She's
nice
got
streams.
some of the best sheep in all of Los Angeles, let me tell
wow.
you.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
very excited for that.
That's real cool.
I just feared that her mom would be like, so maybe get your nails done for Zach's birthday? Like, I just was like, I
they're
can't
gonna
let
spill the
anybody
beans.
spill this.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think it's way super traditional. I can't imagine. I don't doubt there's many people doing that now, but maybe. I mean, I didn't do that. I wouldn't have done that.
Question number 4. Let's go from traditionalist to progressive.
Uh-oh.
When do you have the conversation about if she just totally doesn't take your last name?
I wouldn't have cared particularly, but Becky specifically wanted my last name because of her last name was Miller, and there was one time that like cemented she was going to take my last name, and that's when someone canceled her doctor's appointment. The doctor's office canceled her doctor's appointment because a different Rebecca Miller called in to cancel their appointment.
Oh,
so they
wow.
canceled Becky's appointment, and Becky got there for her appointment, and they said, oh, you canceled it. And she's like, no, I didn't. It's like, well, we don't have an appointment space anymore. It's like, well, I didn't cancel it. Like, and then Becky was also like, can you at least pay for my parking? Because this is your fault. And they were like, we don't have any cash here. And Becky was like, okay, this is ridiculous. And she was thrilled to become a Habersberger.
You want that specificity.
Yeah.
My mom kept her maiden name, so certainly it was something that didn't seem strange to me. And I was totally open to it. Ariel also wanted to take my name. I think it was like a reminder of our wedding and how much we loved each other. Maybe it was like kind of the way that you wear a ring as a symbol, kind of one of those things that was a way of symbolizing like that we were joining our lives together. I think maybe I'm just making that up, but I think I remember that was what she was saying as the reason why she wanted to take my name.
I feel like a bit of a hypocrite because in my mind, I'm like, what an antiquated thing. First of all, I should say, like, whatever Maggie wants to do, if she wants my name, I'll take it. Great. But also, like, why do no guys take the woman's last name?
Yeah.
Some women have super dope last names. Like, I would totally take a really cool name. But then I was like, oh, but all my Instagram handles and stuff are already Corn Diddy. So it'd be kind of confusing if I changed my name. So I guess I'm going to keep it. So I won't be taking her last name. But, like, in my mind,
Boosta Diddy.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Boosta Diddy,
We have
Diddy
to-
Monte.
we have-
Kornfeld
Diddy.
Monte.
We've talked about creating a new one, Boostafeld. Maybe for our kids, they can have a new name. But then, like, I don't know, like, she's got a proud Peruvian heritage. I've got a proud Jewish heritage. We both, I think, want our kids to be rocking that last name. So it's going to be a little throwdown.
Kornfeld's hyphen Bustamante is a mouthful.
It is.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, we all in our minds think that hyphenated last names are great. Like, oh, how equitable. But we all knew hyphenated last name kids growing up, and fuck them.
They're just a little long and hard to fit on forms. I don't think they deserve to
If you have a hyphenated last name, you're entitled. You're a piece of shit.
Get out of here.
You should unsubscribe.
When it's really difficult taking someone's last name is interracial marriages where you are a person of color and suddenly you go from Stacy Kim to Stacy Jones. And so every time you meet someone, they're like, this woman is married to probably a white guy or maybe was adopted. So that's why both my sisters kept their last names.
Yeah.
I'm sure the
yeah.
opposite is also true, right? Like if all of a sudden, there's a white Lee Young and then they show up and everyone's like, oh, okay, cool. Come on in.
Jacob Lee Young.
Yeah. But I wonder if these days they might be like, ooh, that gives me just like a little more flavor. Who's he?
Oh my God.
Was he born like on an army base overseas?
Oh.
He's like, no, I'm from Fresno, but
Yeah.
thank you. Question number
Five.
Five?
What are your thoughts on joint versus separate bachelor parties?
Oh, that's interesting.
Joint, as in you have the bachelor and the bachelorette party the same place.
Some people do that, and that's
Some people
Hell
do that.
no, that is
'Cause
not the
considered
point of it.
It's considered more progressive and contemporary.
Boo.
Maggie has brought it up.
You shut it down.
Down.
You shut it down.
The whole point of that is to have like a kind of a reconnection with your boys or your sense your personal self outside of your relationship. Because it's important to have a very strong connection with your relationship, but also maintain your own interests and your own sense of self. That will make your relationship all the stronger. Also, strippers, duh.
Yeah. Jeez.
I don't necessarily need to have. What I would love is to have separate parties, but then we have a joint hotel room where at the end of the night we can come back and be like, yo, how was your night? Dope. And then we go to bed, and then we wake up together, have breakfast, and then go party separately again.
I think you
All
should
right,
stay at different
well,
hotels and meet at a brunch
sure.
spot. and then head again.
Yeah, I don't. Well, if you let us plan your bachelor party, that will not be happening.
And also,
Don't you have to
like Maggie might get super drunk too. You might both be really not in the great. You may be basically coming back to take care of somebody, and that's not fun.
Oh,
We should have to take care of you. Maggie's friends should have
right.
to take care of her.
Yeah.
That's how it should work.
Oh, Keith and I feel very passionate about this.
yeah, I can tell.
I think they
There's
care.
not a
They're
lot
very
of parties to
passionate.
look forward to nowadays. This is the one party that I know is happening in the next several years, and we're gonna do it.
Are bachelor parties typically based on the wildness level of the groom, the best man or person planning it, or the median wildness of the group?
Good question.
That's tough. It really should be based on the groom, and a good best
But it
man will
isn't.
dial that in. But I would say it often isn't. Yeah, it could be the median level of the group. If you're
I
the
think the
groom
first
that always
choice
sort of
is-
gets dragged along to parties and you're not really into it, yeah, you might probably have a party and if someone else plans your bachelor party.
The first choice is who you select as your best man, right? Because
Yeah,
that
that's what
decides, that dictates the rhythm of the party. In fact, one of my best friends growing up, or I would say my number one best friend growing up, he has already told me hey, you're going to be my best man, but Ben's going to be my co-best man. One, because he's really sensitive. Shout out to Ben, love you. But also he's really good at throwing parties, and I know that you don't care. And I'm like, dude, you are so right.
That's a great way to do it. That's I think a more progressive thing that happens is sometimes the bachelor party is just for the groomsmen. I think it could be for all of your male friends who are close to you, because you can only have so many groomsmen. And if you want to have a bachelor party that's just 5 people, that's fine. If you want a bachelor
Or
party
female
that's
friends.
15 people,
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, you can. It doesn't have to be the men. It just needs to be sort of the people who have developed you that you want to party with sort of really hard, or however you want to party one last time. You could also just get a cabin and just grill and hang out. That's equally cool.
So I will be selecting a best man in the coming months. I would say it's open right now. Miles, you're up for the running.
Hey, I'm honored to be nominated.
Miles and the Try Guys, all the Webby
plus
Award
the
winners
Try
are.
Hey, I would be honored. I would be absolutely honored. And I actually, Zach took me aside and said I will be marrying him and Maggie. So that's also pretty exciting. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
A TryPod exclusive.
Yeah.
I have no further questions about straight people.
Okay,
Wow.
great.
This has been Keeping Up with the Straights with Eugene Lee.
We were gonna call this episode Zach Got Engaged, but instead we're gonna call it Eugene Figures Out Straight People.
Nah, I got y'all figured out. I'm related to so many. It's just a matter of I'm trying to find out where everyone's at these days. We're in this weird position between traditionalism
Yeah.
and then being progressive, but everyone I feel ends up swinging back towards traditionalism. It just happens. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting to watch because every time I talk about, say, my sister's engagement situations and marriages, everyone's horrified because they're just not romantic. My older sister got engaged over text where she randomly said, "Oh, I guess we should get married, huh?" And he goes, "I guess so." That was their engagement.
Wow.
And everyone's like, "That is so sad." But it's So it's so interesting to me because, everyone's like, no, I'm going to be super progressive. But then they spend so much time focusing on the romance. So it's very interesting.
It's the most
like
traditional thing I've ever done.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's very fulfilling. It's very fulfilling because we're raised with that. It doesn't matter if you're gay or straight or whatever. We're raised with the picture book wedding of the bride in the white dress. So, it's hard to stray away from that. It's hard not to feel something when you see that, even for a homosexual like me.
Wow.
My engagement wasn't something that I planned for months and months and months. Interestingly enough, it was sort of something I decided to do that day, which was still very romantic, but definitely not like this big surprise I had planned.
Probably the opposite story of mine, right?
Yeah, I think it certainly wasn't like I had planned out every detail of the day.
Well, look at the facts. Maggie and I had been dating for years. I spent nearly a year finding the ring, choosing the way to propose. You and Ariel had been dating for less than a year, right?
Mm-hmm. We were dating for 9 months, so not particularly long, but getting married to her was something that I had been thinking about for a while, several months, and I knew how I felt about her, and I wasn't sure what or when when I would want to do that. But then there was a particular day where something came over me and I realized that I had this realization that if I got hit by a bus the next day, I would want to let her know how I felt about her, like right now. Like there was no reason to wait in my mind because I needed to tell her the way I felt and that I wanted to. It was like I was so sure, and that was kind of this feeling that I had. It was just an overwhelming sense of emotion and a sense of that was our destiny and that I wanted to tell her. I didn't want any time to elapse before I told her.
Didn't want any buses to drive by you anymore.
A lot of buses in Chicago.
There are.
It's kind of a weird way of saying, obviously I didn't want to get hit by a bus, but it was sort of the sense of like, if I wait, who knows what can happen. If I wait any more time without telling her how I feel, that would be disingenuous to the feelings that I had. So I left work early. I got a haircut. I got some flowers. I put on a suit. We were having a date night that night, so it wasn't totally out of the blue. I went to a ring store, and then it felt way too rushed, and I left the ring store. I wrote her a tear-stained note that I read back and was completely incoherent, sort of the written version of that blubbering that you're talking about. Then I wrote her, another note.
Did it have like a checkbox of like, do you want to marry me? Yes, no, baby.
It was just like a tender letter. And I surprised her at her office to pick her up that day. And Ariel said that I was like a sweaty wreck that could barely get his words out. And that's true. I'm not going to counteract that. I was very sweaty. It was, September in Chicago. It hasn't really gotten that cold yet, but I'm still wearing a full suit and just very nervous. If I thought about her or thought about the way I felt about her, I was just going to start crying. And I was like, it doesn't count unless you can actually tell her what is going on. Otherwise, she's just going to think something weird is happening.
Yeah.
So I remember trying to
in a parking lot.
Yeah. I remember trying to look at street signs or other, random details in the parking lot to distract me from the way I felt, to try and keep it all together. And she walked out and she was like, wait, what are you doing? What are you doing here? She was expecting me, but she wasn't sure why I was in a suit with flowers. Right. Maybe thought it was some special date night thing. And I got down on a knee and I said, I'm here because I realized I want to spend the rest of my life with you. will you marry me? And she said, oh my God, are you serious? And then said, of course, yes.
If anyone in the audience was cool, calm, and collected when they asked the question, I just don't understand how. How do you... like, I see it in the movies, and it's like, Beatrice, you are the most magnificent woman I've ever met. Will you marry me? But in real, like, Ned and I are both like, you're pretty. You're so great. I love you. Here's a ring.
Yeah, I mean, I was just seconds away from breaking down, sobbing at any moment. It was just a very powerful day, a very powerful, overwhelming sense of emotions.
And we went to Giordano's and got some deep dish stuffed pizza.
Some deep dish pizza. Yeah, it was a very, very emotional day. And I am sad that I didn't have like engagement photos of that moment, but it was still like very special and romantic in a sort of spontaneous way.
You know, it makes sense when we talk about weddings about how families want to be a part of it, because I'm sure when you're a parent and you're raising a child, eventually you're like, maybe they will get married, and you probably think about that. And I'm sure there's lots of crazy stuff that goes on with parenting. And if you have things going on with parenting, we got a new podcast, Ned. Tell us all about it. Tell us about Baby Steps.
Yeah, so Ariel and I are starting a new podcast. It's all about parenting, but it's from a more irreverent point of view. Not so perfect parenting podcast, because, you know, the photos, like, as we heard here in the engagement story, you can post a very cute photo on Instagram, but the reality is far messy and dirty, and it's certainly that true with babies. Baby photos are cute, but oh man, there is a whole bunch of stuff we go through. So it's part personal storytelling, part reacting to expert advice and giving people tools they need to become better parents, as well as reviewing some trending products and hearing stories from the audience. You know, we kind of want to make it a community of people talking about the nitty-gritty, the dirty, messy of parenting. It's been really fun to work on so far, and it's kind of just nice to talk to Ariel for an hour and tell a whole bunch of stories about Wes, and we kind of feel like that's something we didn't get to do the first time around. Now that Ariel's pregnant and we have a toddler, like, it's pandemic parenting is super wild and messy.
And you guys are charting week by week of the pregnancy, right?
That's right. Yeah, you can follow week by week as things develop, you know, how Ariel's changing, how she's feeling, what's going to happen. It's kind of like we're telling the narrative of leading up to the birth as well, so people can follow along in real time.
Baby Steps is launching this Sunday. You can listen to it anywhere podcasts are available. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, fucking you name it, we'll be there. Mm-hmm. And we have a new Baby Steps YouTube channel that is launching, so go give it some love. We're amped, though. It's the first of 2 new podcasts that we're releasing this year, part of us expanding our slate and doing projects that are a little more specific. And yeah, I'm stoked for you guys to hear this. We've got another one coming out in mid to late October, so show it some love, and we'll have more and more.
You know, it's like these little podcasts are like our own little new engagements, right? You know, so many things are engaged. Uh-huh. Everything's engaged over here.
Yeah. We're really never gonna be like family vloggers, but this is almost like the closest we might come to sort of having a peek behind the curtain. And actually, we're going to be doing a special sneak preview of episode 1 after the end of this episode, so people can stick around to check it out.
Cool. That's fun. Jeez, you must be fucking amped, audience. Audience, you must be like, fuck yeah, this is great.
I'm fucking amped.
I'm feeling good.
We've been working real hard on this.
Yeah. Well, you know, you're going to get some real parenting advice from Ned and Baby Steps, but maybe you need advice that's not so great. Maybe you need advice that's very specific to what Miles did last week. And for that, I'm going to throw it over to our local expert on advice. With advice that'll go for Miles, this is Miles Bonsignore.
It's advice that'll go for Miles. Tune it to your radio station. It's advice that'll go for Miles. Everyone get ready, Miles Nation. Miles Nation, go. It's advice that'll go If I say it'll go 4 miles.
What the hell's up, Miles Nation?
Oh, is that a second mic?
What's happening over there?
This is my gamer mic. This is the one that you can hear me through, but this is my podcast mic.
Oh.
Have y'all ever wanted to be sticky?
Ew.
All the time.
Have you ever wanted to put things together? Eugene is putting the world together.
Huh? What?
Is this glue? Is this glue related?
Is it glue?
Duct tape? More like fuck tape.
Oh boy.
Get that shit out of here.
First
Okay?
of all, how dare you?
Wait, you don't like duct tape?
You're out of your goddamn mind, Miles.
Duct
We're not even
tape's
gonna let
the
you
best.
finish this. You're fucking
Let's
crazy, dude.
see what
You're
kind of
out
glue
of-
he likes. Is it wood glue or what kind of glue you think?
Elmer's.
Hey, kids, your mouth's agape. Everybody put down the vape and pick up a little electrical tape.
That's like the worst tape.
Are you out of your goddamn
Is
mind?
Nah.
Some of the
I'm into it.
most
I'm into it.
specific tape you could.
I like electrical tape.
Yeah, for
I don't like
electrical
it
things.
more than duct tape. So I don't like how you said fuck tape.
Yeah, electrical tape's gonna seal your wires together. But
Yeah,
mostly
that's
that's it. That's it.
Now,
That's it, though.
what I use it for, and a lot of soccer players know this, is you use it to hold up your shin guards.
Oh.
You do a little tape around the lower shin.
Mm-hmm.
Bam.
Why electrical tape? Because it doesn't rip your little hairs out? Because it's bullshit weak tape or what?
Yeah, it's kind of like plastic, but in a
No,
tape.
it's just really good for. It's a little stretchy, you know. So you do it on the outside of your sock, and it sticks to itself. But it's kind of stretchy and flexible.
Yeah.
Riddle me this, Miles. Riddle me the fuck this.
Drag me, Zach.
You ever made a wallet out of electrical tape?
No, but I don't make a wallet out of tape because I'm not 10.
Yeah,
why do
well,
you think
people are
it's
10.
Got
People
good
are
tape,
10.
Miles.
Some people are 10.
Some people are. So why don't you open your goddamn ignoramus mind, okay? Why
There's
don't
a lot
you
of people
broaden
who are
your
10.
perspective?
There's
There are a
people who
lot
are
of
10.
10-year-olds out there.
Honestly,
Some of them might be
10-year-old
listening.
army of tri-poodles.
I'd like to
How fucking dare
apologize
you.
to the
Coming for you.
10-year-olds. I'd honestly
Yeah.
like to apologize.
People
say,
be 10.
I'll say this. Check out on my gamer mic when I play Call of Duty with my friends. I got a little electrical tape here, and then I got a little electric tape. Ned left. Ned was so pissed.
I got a phone call.
Okay.
I'm on my phone today, so I had to hang up. I hung
I'm
up
also on my phone.
on someone trying to reach me for you, Miles.
Oh, why? And so anyway, yeah, you can when you're putting cables behind your desk, you can tape them together with electrical tape, and it's not going to leave a sticky residue.
What? That is not true. Electrical tape definitely leaves a sticky residue.
Okay. Well,
Electrical tape is not. Don't sell me on the residue. It gunks up all of my soccer socks so bad.
Yeah.
Actually, I switched to these little reusable Velcro things because I felt bad because I was going through so much electrical tape. But I'm into it, and I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. But it definitely is sticky and nasty. I think more
Drag
sticky
me.
than most tapes.
What you really need to tell people about is gaff tape. Now, you're going to be like, Keith, gaff tape is $20 a roll. And you're right. It's
Yeah.
crazy expensive, but it is the
Best tape.
It's as strong as duct tape, and it doesn't leave a residue, and it, for the most part, and it is
Hell
just
yeah,
like
Keith.
beautiful tape. It's the
Yeah.
best tape on the market, but it's, you got to use it sparingly because it's so good.
yeah.
You know?
Gaff
Yeah.
tape is like the loose leaf tea of the tape world.
Yeah,
Okay?
it's
You're like,
like
whoa,
top
this is
tape.
high. This is expensive. But then you get it, and you're like, oh my god, I didn't know tape could be like this. I've been drinking scotch, little shitty bag teas my whole life. I never knew.
Yeah, gaff
Hell
tape
yeah,
is
Keith.
obviously bae, and we stan. But I will say that electrical tape is good if you're on a light budget and you need to put two wires together, or maybe you're hanging a new light.
Eugene, I need a special Rank King edition
You
of the
haven't given
tripod.
us a single reason.
Eugene, it's on my desk too.
Oh my
That's
God.
the reason. The reason is you had no advice and you looked down.
No,
and you found electrical
no.
tape.
I've been working on this for months. This is my this advice.
Eugene, lightning round ranking. Rank the tapes from best to worst.
Yeah.
Just real
Or
quick,
worst
you
to
know what
best,
the
up to
best
you.
tapes are.
All right. Number 1, gaff tape.
Yeah.
Number 2, duct tape.
Yeah.
Number 3, packaging tape because you use it so much.
Oh,
Such
yeah.
an obnoxious tape. It
Hard to
doesn't do
get
well.
off the roll.
Yeah, we all know that.
No, not if you have a little dispenser. If you have a little dispenser, it comes off smooth.
Number 4, double-sided tape.
Yeah. Preach.
Yeah, get that.
I'm loving this
get that
ranking.
craft
That's why he's the
project.
king.
That's right.
Where's painter's tape stack up?
That's number 5 because you need painter's tape for paint.
You do need
Yeah.
it.
And then there's a lot of paints, but I'm going to say after painter's tape, I'll put electrical tape there. And towards the bottom, just regular old shitty Scotch tape.
Oh, Scotch at the bottom. I don't know. I might.
Wow.
I might personally
I mean-
put Scotch. I like playing
What
with
the
Scotch.
fuck are you using Scotch tape for?
Yeah.
I wrap it around my fingers.
If you're doing like paper crafts, I think
Are you
Scotch
5?
over my entire lifetime. I think I've used Scotch tape more than I have used painter's tape. So I
Yeah.
might slide that right in there above painter's tape. But
Scott-
you're right. I'm wrong. I'll shut up.
I don't know what it is with this ageism, guys. People be 5 out there.
I
Like
know.
5-year-olds
A lot of
all over this.
5-year-olds.
I know. I'd
listeners.
like to apologize to the 5-year-olds. Yeah, Scotch tape sucks.
If I was 5 and I discovered these superior tapes, I would have been using those tapes. But I was
true.
only handed Scotch tape.
Yeah, imagine a macaroni project with freaking gaff.
Now you should be upgrading to painting walls if you want to be a real
That's true.
artist.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
that's true.
join us next week when we talk about different types of glue.
I got some real good glues. I am ready for that conversation. I got some top glues.
Miles, what was that advice
Yeah?
that you just gave? Is this
He didn't actually have any advice.
No,
It was just like, I kind of like
the-
electrical tape.
Yeah, well, you got to get electrical tape to make 2 cables go together, Eugene. I remember, I actually had remembered that you had been having the problem. I think it was that you texted me about you kind of had a problem with getting 2 cables together, and I thought, this is going to help my best friend
That
Eugene.
didn't happen, Miles.
My
That
best
never
friend
happened.
Eugene is going to be,
That makes sense.
yeah, it's going to love this. Anyway,
Well, but make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts everywhere and leave us a 5-star review for just advice like this and these sort of segments. If you leave a secret in your review, we might read it on air.
oh man,
Yeah, that's
bringing
right.
bringing it back.
That's right. Bringing it back. Leave
we haven't done that
secrets.
in a while. Let's lose some secrets
Check
next
out the
week.
Miles Nation merch at TryGuys.com. Go to patreon.com/TryGuys to join our community. And check out my new podcast, Baby Steps. Search for Baby Steps anywhere you find podcasts. And stay tuned for a special sneak preview of episode 1 dropping Sunday, September 6th.
Thanks everyone for the engagement, love. Very excited. Thanks for listening to my story. The Try Guys are growing up. Until next time, Keith, hit us with the official TryPod theme song.
Here comes the baby steps. Da-na-na-na. No. Parenting advice pod. Ba-na-na-na. It's got all your favorite friends. Ba-na-na-na. And it is a podcast, but this is the TryPod.
Until next time, stay beautiful.
Sometimes when we have other people over, I don't think this when it's just the 2 of us, but when we have other people over and he's like running around, basically running amok in, his undies and
Yeah. Like, what do they think of our...
What do they think?
Sometimes we're just out in the front yard. Wes is buck-ass naked.
Yeah, because he
like kicking a ball or something.
Not because we have decided that it is naked time, but because he refuses
Yeah.
to put on clothes.
He has decided it is naked time,
Yes.
and we are okay with it.
Yes, we have decided to.
It's fine.
It is a battle that we will not fight. It's fine.
Yeah, I definitely remember
It's
locking eyes
fine.
with the neighbor at one point, just like, hey, and he's like, what are you doing, man? You got your kid wearing nothing but a t-shirt with a ding-dong flapping
just
out.
Pooh Bearing it.
I'm like, he's a child. It's
Well,
fine.
I mean, we've basically been potty training for like 3 months.
He's good.
He's getting there. He's getting there. Yeah, waking up with some
dry.
dry diapers. That's the best way to start the day, right there. You're
So-
like, damn,
Damn.
we're doing it.
Speaking of dingles hanging out, if you want to get your dingle dongle locked in, strapped in, we're going to review the Frida Ball's new kid-proof underwear for dads. Medium. That's my size. Low blows, get the Frida Balls. Okay.
Read the side, read the side.
Read the side. Protect your legacy. Oh, wow. And it's like hands holding gonads. That's intense. That's intense.
Wow.
You see that little icon?
Oh,
Is that
wow.
what you thought?
I did not
you know
see that.
Immediate recognition for me of.
I thought it was boob fondle.
It does look like boob fondle. All
But
right.
you're definitely right. That is two balls.
Yeah, it's just testes.
Protect
Don't want to get them
your
smashed.
legacy.
Yeah, it's because when you're, if you got a baby in a front carrier, or if you're just holding him, he like kicks his heels, and I've definitely gotten smashed in the nuts before.
Absolutely.
I think this is a silly product. I don't know if I would use it. It's not very functional, but let's check it out. They're not a sponsor. This is an editorial review.
It's underwear with a cup.
This is pretty good. Underwear with a cup, but what I like about this cup is it's baby, not sized. It's big boy size, but it's baby like density, you know?
Let me feel that.
An athletic cup is like you can take a kick from a man. But this
Okay.
baby cup it's kind of flexible. You know, it seems it's a little more comfortable. Athletic cups are like, oh, they're painful, but
Oh no, you can remove it. I was thinking like you don't remove it, you wash it with the cup inside. This is nice. These are nice undies. I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, it also gives you a little bulge. I don't know if that is that something that ladies like? Eugene says it's something that gay men like, and I assume it translates a little bit.
I find it a little strange.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, we'll move on. All right, I'm going to go into the closet and try this on for comfort.
We're filming this in our bedroom, and our producer Miles is sitting here like, this is normal.
Just put it on.
This is super normal.
Underwear. All right, so here we are. Can you see okay? All right, got the Frida balls here. Can you hear this? I'm not close to the microphone. So if you're watching on YouTube, I'm currently standing in my underwear about to try on nut protective pants.
Let's see. Medium true to size there.
I mean, it fits pretty well. I've tucked my shirt into my underwear, which is kind of a nice touch.
That's normal.
You know, it's surprisingly comfortable.
Uh-huh.
Unlike other athletic cups I've worn, you could reasonably get away with it as everyday underwear. I'm gonna ask Ariel to punch me in the balls right now.
I'll do like baby kicks. Ready?
Baby kicks. Oh no! Do not like. Okay, well, it works. It works. It's still uncomfortable, but I guess I didn't get like a full frontal assault on my legacy.